morning, everyone. It is a pleasure having this talk with you today, and we are going to talk about World War One and how it affects us, and our country, France, as the country we will be talking about and representing.
I am completely lost. Can someone please tell me what's going on and about this war?
Yes, of course. Well, to get you in context, this was an international conflict with most of the nations of Europe, along with Russia, the United States, the Middle East, and other regions. And this is just a beginning.
But how did this exactly affect France?
Well, it all started with a Serbian nationalist terrorist group, the Black Hand. These ones sent groups to assassinate the Archduke. It all began after the assassination of the Archduke, Franz Ferdinand, on June 28 in 1940. And it all began that way, and this was probably the main cause. But there is more.
Sorry, but how is this called?
World War I, and it's also known as the Great War.
Oh, okay. But can you tell me more about this?
Yeah, I can also tell you that it began on 28th of July in 1940 and ended on November 11, 1980. 4 years of war, imagine that. But Anuar, will you tell more about this? He's an expert because he was a
So
soldier.
I heard Anuar was a soldier in World War One. Can you tell me more about it?
Sure, well, war broke out in Europe in the summer of 1914. In my experience of the war, it's a terrible way of living because sadly a lot of my friends died in the war. And I spent a lot of days starving without water and food.
I'm so sorry about it. I thought people would have a great experience, but do you know the powers that were involved?
There were many powers involved in the war. There were two sides the Central and the powers and the Allies. With the Central powers were led by Germany and Austria-Hungary, and the Allied countries were led by us, France, Britain, Russia, and others. We were involved in war on August 3rd of 1914.
But does someone know how did France decided to get involved in World War One?
I think Santi must know.
Santi, Anuar told me you would know this question. Do you know how did France decided to get involved into World War One?
Yes, I know. Our country decided to get involved in war when Germany declared to be in war.
Okay, and how were the soldiers recruited or called in France?
The recruit of us was entirely carried by the civil functionaries. The soldiers were recruited through conscription. Every young man between the ages of 20 and 25 was eligible to be called up to the war, and the process was done through the drawing of lots. The men had to be in good health and without disability. Our regiments were made up of young recruits and older veteran soldiers who had participated in many military campaigns.
Wow, that's super interesting. But do you know if someone knows which was the outcome for the country?
I am sure that Nicole knows that.
Okay, thank you. Nicole, Santi told me you would know the question about how and which was the outcome of the country.
Actually, I do. Frenchmen mobilized 1.3 million had been killed and almost 1 million crippled. Large parts of northeastern France, the nation's most advanced industrial and agricultural area, were devastated.
Oh, okay, so that leads up to the end, right?
Yes, the war was officially ended by the Treaty of Versailles, which was signed on June 28 of 1919. The main authors of the treaty were the leaders of France, England, Italy, and the US.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure having you here. But let's talk about some fun facts. I think Anwar will know best, right? Because he was a soldier.
Yes.
Let's call him in. Anwar, as you were the one who was a soldier in World War One, would you like to say something that happened to you to the people?
Once, Germany and France, we were on our sides, and then on a Christmas night, we started playing and singing Christmas carols, and we both sides start eating dinner, playing, singing. We had a great time.
What were you playing exactly?
We were playing mostly soccer, and we showed them a game that is famous in France.
So it was just to show them peace in Christmas Eve.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming today, and it was a pleasure meeting you, and I have the honor to have you here.
My pleasure.
So my conclusion is that we have to be thankful that we don't have to experience the war and all the suffering and everything nowadays, because our governments have like calmed down and have more peace between them, and because of all the things that happened in the past years, they had all make like a truce and have peace with one another, and they respect one from another. And now we have to be thankful that we don't have to experience the war and all those things than how the people suffer them in the past years. And I also think that we don't realize, like in school learning from the war and everything, we really don't realize how the people really suffer the war and everything, and how the people lived in those days, and the really bad moments that they had to experience. So I'm really grateful that we don't longer have to experience those things, and we live in a new time, in a new era, then we don't have to experience those things.
I think that is something very, very good that we don't live in that ages, that time, because in the Great War you can lose your family, your friends, and the persons that are very close to you. And with this work I learned a lot about things that I didn't know before. For example, the Christmas carols and the soccer match, that I think that is something very, very good, because they were in war, and for Christmas they stopped the war and begin like a Pacific day to be friends, and it's something very good for them. And they don't have problems on that days. And this work was very important to know a lot of things that I didn't know before this. Thank you.
This activity was great. So, in conclusion, I could say that I didn't know a lot of that topic. So, investigating about the fun facts, investigating about the dates, about the battles inside of the Great War, investigating about the main powers involved, made me learn a lot of new things that I didn't know about that topic. So, I could say that it was a horrible event for the society, but it's very interesting to learn new things about like that. So I can say that it's a great activity and very interesting.
I am very happy to be learning about this, and my conclusion was that I did know some of the things of World War I. For example, the Christmas miracle that Anuar mentioned before. I also knew about the fact that Hitler in World War I was the main cause who did World War II. And I was very happy to be doing it because I could know some more facts about it, not just in a way of studying, but in a way of like making a project with my friends. And since it was something that it needed to be recorded, we recorded it like a lot of times, so we memorized it most of the times, and that made me help like knowing more about World War I and the Great War. And I think it was a great opportunity, and I really liked it. Thank you.